Okay, so today I'm going to show you how to make your own fall wreath. And what I did was I started with an inspiration piece online from a store that sold wreaths that were custom, but I didn't want to pay what they were charging. I think it was like $180 for this wreath. So I thought I can just go to my local craft store and pick up some supplies and do it myself. And so this is the sample that I was going after to try to make on my own. So I recommend you do the same thing so that you can kind of pick out the colors that you want and the types of floral pieces that you want to use for your wreath. And so with this particular wreath, I decided to start with a grapevine form here. So let's see if I can show you a little bit better. Put it down like that. So that's what it looks like. And so what we're going to do is we've got a variety of different floral pieces in the colors that I like for my wreath. And some of them are even like feathers. In order to get the pieces the way they are here, where you see they're already kind of individual and you're able to slide them into the wreath, what you'll do is you'll take something like this one here, okay, and let me back this up so I can get to it a little bit better. You'll take your wire cutters and you'll cut a piece off like this. So let's say I want this piece right here. Bend it. There you go. So there's your shorter piece that then you can slide into the wreath. We'll do this several more times and get the pieces that we want. I already had some pieces that I had cut earlier. I'm actually redoing a wreath that some of the animals in our attic got into, so I needed to replace some pieces, and so I decided that this would be a good opportunity to kind of show everybody how I made it. All right. Go ahead and cut some more pieces. And so that's how I made all of these other pieces that you see on the table, was by cutting sections off like this and using them in my wreath. Now this right here is a little bit bigger piece of wire, so it might take a little bit longer to cut. There we go. And obviously take your tags off. All right, and I would recommend, so Hobby Lobby tends to have a little bit better selection than Michael's does. So, and I would look for the sales because sometimes this floral stuff can get expensive. Okay, I've got some more here. This is a new floral that I found that I thought was kind of cool. It's got acorns on it. I don't know if you can see that very well. And so I decided I wanted to try to use that. And it's a little bit different than the other. You don't necessarily have to cut it as much. So these pieces, if they're wrapped in paper like this, I don't know if you can see this. If they're wrapped in paper like this, you can kind of twist and pull. And I was able to pull that right off. So this little section right here, you can kind of strip off some of the paper at the end, and you can see that it's got wire, and clean it up a little bit, but then you can slide that directly into your wreath, and nobody sees it from the back. So I'm just going to do a couple more like that. Again, just rips right off. super easy. Same there. And you can see how quickly this goes. It really doesn't take long at all. Okay, there's another piece. And then a piece here. And this has got wire in it too, so you can just kind of form it however you want it to go. All right, and so now you've got your individual pieces here that you can use for your wreath. Okay. I know it looks messy, but you're not going to see it. All right. So the next piece that I'm going to show you, these right here are really pretty. They're called cat's tails, and I thought these would be a pretty addition. I had some yellow ones that were in the wreath that I'm redoing, but they didn't have the yellow ones at Michael's when I went, and that's where I had a gift card for yesterday. So anyway, so we're going to use these instead of the yellow ones for my updated wreath, although the yellow ones still look okay, so I may use some of both. And this particular floral has the kind where you have to cut. I don't know if you can tell. Even though it's got the paper down here, you're still probably going to have to cut it. So let's see how this works. Yeah. So it's not going to pull apart like the other ones. So what I'll do is I'll get down here and I'll just cut that right there. And this is a pretty tough wire. So the harder the wire, the more force you have to give. But any wire cutter should work. And I like this grass, so what I'm probably going to do is cut the cattails off and use the grass in the wreath as well, because I think it would make a nice addition to the wreath. So I'm probably going to have to this is a tougher wire. Sometimes you have to bend it a little bit to get it to break. It's coming off. You have to adjust your wire cutters a little. There we go. But I wanted to get a plume like this that's all stuck together instead of a bunch of individual ones, because I think it looks more natural. Okay. But like I said, I think this grass right here is really kind of pretty. So I'm gonna save this piece because I think I can still use it. I'll probably cut this little wire piece that you see sticking out here before I use it, but you don't need to watch me do that online. Okay, so I'll do the same thing with this one. No need to demonstrate all of that. The other thing that the wreath online, my inspiration piece, had that I thought was really beautiful were feathers. So I found these feathers at Michael's. You know, some people can find them in their yard though. I mean, if you've got birds that drop feathers, you know, you can grab some from your yard if you want to, but they sell them at Michael's. And like I said, look for the sales because these can be a little more expensive, but you know, they do have sales several times a year that you can buy feathers like this. And you don't have to cut those. All right. And then this next flower that I thought was really kind of unique are these little yellow flowers. Looks a little bit like goldenrod, but I don't think it is. And so it's the same as the last one that we just did as far as like how you trim it. You just cut it like that. And this one feels like it wants to come off pretty quickly. So there it is, it's already cut. And you end up with these little cute little plumes like that then you can place into your wreath. All right. I'm going to cut some more of these so that we'll have enough for the wreath. Right. Go take this off. I like to keep the leaves on there because it adds a little more fullness to the wreath. It's up to you how you like it. And it's good to have lots of different lengths. They don't have to be exactly the same length, because I think the more variable the length of the stems are, the better, because then it doesn't look like you measured and cut and, you know, made everything so perfect. All right, and see how quick that was? Like, I have all of these already cut. Nice little bouquet looking. All right, I only have a couple more things to show you. So this next piece, I found these cute little pumpkins, and my last wreath that I had some pumpkins that were already on skewers. These did not come on the skewers, so but they're made out of styrofoam. So my thought was I could take these kitchen skewers, poke them, and then I can cut the skewer to the length that I need for the wreath. So we're gonna try it. It's gonna be live. All right, so here it goes, nothing. All right, so my thought is I can just poke it, but you know, there we go. It went right in. There we go. And so that's what the other pumpkins look like. They had a little stick sticking out of them. And so then you can put it into your wreath and, you know, arrange it however you want. And a rule of decorating is odd numbers look better than even numbers. So I'm either going to do 3 or 5 of these, just because I want to make sure that it's more pleasing to the eye. If you get too matchy-matchy symmetrical, then it's just not as interesting. So there's one. And I like that they came in different sizes. So like that was a bigger one, and this is a smaller one. Turn it like this so you can kind of see a little bit better how I'm doing that. Basically, I just pushed it right in. It's not hard at all. Got 2 of them. I like the small ones. All right, let's see, there's the middle. There we go. And so now we have 3 little pumpkins. Perfect. And if we want more, you can always make more as we're going along. Okay, so now we're ready to start assembling our wreath. I'm going to try to stand this up a little bit so you can kind of see what I'm doing a little bit better. I'm going to push it closer. All right, so this is where we are. I know the wreath doesn't look like much. The biggest thing is to layer things. So you're going to want to put the bigger leaves in first as like a background. So these leaves right here are perfect, and I like the variety of colors. So I think these are magnolia leaves. And you didn't get to see me cut these. These are from the wreath that I took apart that, like I said, it needed redoing. So I just took all the foliage off and figured I could reuse it. And I'll just show you kind of how I put them into the wreath so you can kind of see. You see the different stems that are there? So you just slide it right in like that. And so what I usually do is I go all the way around, and I'll put evenly spaced all the way around the wreath. And then once I've done that, then I start adding different layers in. So maybe I would add the maple leaves. You can add in the cat's tails, either the yellow ones or the new ones that I just bought, these orange ones. And then kind of the last few pieces are like these bright flowers, the feathers that I showed you. These are kind of fun too. I got these from Hobby Lobby last year, but I like the movement in these. They're really long and kind of flowy, and it makes for an interesting pattern in your wreath. And then these are more like filler. This green is more like filler, and it pulled apart just like this one here. So I'm gonna put some of the wreath together, and then I'll do a second video to kind of describe what I've done.